to The Communication Tree, where we explore communication, connection, and the belief that every voice deserves to be heard. I'm Jennifer Branchini, speech-language pathologist, speaking with clinicians, researchers, allied health professionals, and everyday people about how communication shapes our lives. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Communication Tree podcast. My name is Jen Branchini. I'm a speech-language pathologist based in Washington, D.C. I own the Communication Tree company. I am a former owner of District Speech and Language Therapy. And this is sponsored by District Speech, as well as Snap Happy Photos, my mother's photography company, and also the Communication Tree. I have with me Chad Franzen. He works for Rise, right, Chad?
Rise 25.
Chad? Rise 25, and he's going to be interviewing me. This is the second interview. I don't know if we want to add that. This is the second interview he's done of me to get some more insight in what I do.
Okay, awesome. Hey, great to talk to you again, Jen. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Today we're going to talk about speech therapy, your expertise, and another one of your expertise, pickleball. Tell me how you got into pickleball.
COVID, that's how everyone got into pickleball, unless you're like old. And then you've been playing this since like the 70s. Yeah, so, COVID hit. We all needed something to do outside. Pickleball is easy to learn. My brother-in-law, my sister taught me how to play. And then I started playing with my family, including my mom and my dad. And then, in DC, I kept it up playing. I played a little bit more tennis than pickleball for a while. And then about a year ago, I started pickleball again following a depression. And now I'm a certified coach and a certified pickleball addict. And I'm
what is it about pickleball? I mean, I've played both pickleball and tennis, not to a very large degree, though. What is it about pickleball that you find like addictive?
It's incredibly social. As an extrovert, it's like the perfect sport for me because it's social. On top of that, you can literally show up to any court and be like, hey, can I play? And they let you in. So it's a very social, open, you can show up anywhere. Whereas with tennis, I always had to secure someone else who played at my level, it's a real pain in the butt. It's a real pain. Not that being said, I love tennis. It's a different vibe. And the other thing with pickleball is it's super easy to pick up. It's easy to learn, and you can just do it every day, and it's great exercise.
Yeah, I found that in tennis, a backhand takes me. I've played tennis for years, and I still don't have a good backhand. Whereas pickleball, at least I'm competent.
Chad, I didn't know you played tennis. Now this is more reason for me to go to California and to see all of you and to play pickleball with you and or tennis.
So how do you become a pickleball coach, certified pickleball coach?
So the facility that I would play at, an indoor facility, they had a session that said, become an instructor. And it's a 4-hour long session where you're basically taught how to teach pickleball. The good thing for me is I am a teacher by trade, speech therapist or teacher. So I was like annoyed that I had to do this 4-hour session because I was like, I already know how to do this. Like, what am I doing here? In addition to that, you have to take hours of modules to also get certified. Of course, I didn't want to take those modules.
But you did.
I did.
How did it go?
And it was painful.
Did you learn anything from those modules?
I sure didn't.
You didn't become a better pickleball player yourself?
No, because I've been coached. I've taken so many lessons. So many lessons by very high level players. Well, high level to me, 450 players. And, I felt like I already knew most of the strategies and suggestions. So I was really bored.
So you're a speech therapist and a pickleball coach. What is the biggest difference in approach to those, if there is any? And then what's the biggest similarity?
There is no difference. The only difference is, can you engage in physical activity? That's the only difference. So speech therapy, you don't need to be physically active. You can just sit there the whole time.
Right. So What what's so similar about the two then?
In terms of teaching,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so as a speech therapist, my job is to task analyze a situation, a skill, and break it down so that it is teachable to whoever it is I am teaching. Now, depending on the person's level, maybe they are are nonverbal. Maybe they are highly verbal and they're in their 80s. Maybe they're a 1 month old child. Like I have to adjust the way I task analyze based on the person that I'm working with to teach the skill. Pickleball is the same thing. Who am I playing with? A tennis player. Let's take you, Chad. You're a tennis player. You're easy to fix. I'll teach you right away all of the strategies because you already have a baseline of really strong skills. So it's not going to be hard for me to teach you. Now, if I got a beginner who's never played pickleball, tennis, or ping pong, that's a whole other bar. That's another ball game because they're beginner. So I have to start from scratch with them. And all I'm doing the same thing I would do in pickleball and I'm sorry, speech therapy is I watch them play. Let's play. Let's have a conversation. What are your goals? What is it that you want to take away from this? Do you want to just play for fun? Do you want to play competitively? Like, where are you at? And then I watch, in speech therapy, I'm listening to their conversation at this time and assessing. In pickleball, I'm also watching and assessing how they're playing. So it's very similar. Same approach.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it would seem like pickleball, I mean, maybe not. You might have more control over maybe how successful you are compared to if you need speech therapy, or am I wrong about that? Like if you start at a certain level, you might, if you have an athletic background but you've never played pickleball, you might pick it up faster rather than speech therapy. That
I would
might
say
be
it's the
more.
same thing. So
You
let's
think
say
so?
I got, a 70-year-old man who had a stroke,
Mm.
who had a long life of speaking really well, and then had a stroke, and now his speech is slurry. You know, uh, I'm, I, it's all about his motivation. Is he motivated? Does he want to fix his speech? If he's motivated and he's going to do the homework, he's going to fix his speech. Same thing with pickleball. Where are they at? Like, are they motivated? Do they actually want to learn? Do they don't really care? Are they doing that because someone told them to do it? Like typically with pickleball, I would say 10 out of 10 times the person's highly motivated because
What kind of
they're there for fun. Speech
sure?
therapy isn't fun. I mean, it's very fun when you do it with me, but it's not fun because you're there for something you're really stressed about and worried about.
Is there a point though in speech therapy where you're doing it, like you're doing the homework and you're following, the person is following your advice, and they're like, I'm actually getting better at this. Does then it become fun? Maybe.
Yes. I mean, look, listen to me, Chad. It's always fun with me. I
Oh,
make
of
things
course.
very fun. It's fun for the in the beginning. And yes, speech therapy can become fun. And just like any sport, anything you learn in life, when you practice something and you see results, you are positively reinforced, you're going to keep practicing.
With speech therapy, do you need to practice with somebody else?
Depending on your goals, absolutely. When you practice with somebody else, that's typically we're in the generalization phase. So let's say you have a lisp and we've nailed down the lisp. You can do it with me in the session and you got it. Now the goal is, all right, now go have a conversation with that stranger over there and make sure you're producing your S's the way I taught you. That's different. That's going to take a lot more thought and practice and comfortability in that situation to generalize it.
When you work with somebody in pickleball, what is the hardest thing for people? I mean, you mentioned it's kind of an easy game to pick up, but what is something that people usually need the most instruction with?
So you're a tennis player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a former tennis player. I mean, I played in as an adult. Tennis players are taught, and we have to stay at the baseline. We have to stay in the back. Pickleball is all about getting to the net. It's all about getting to the kitchen, get to the net. So when I play against a tennis player, I can tell he's new because he stays to the baseline. So I know how to target the ball. I just hit drop shots at the net, and then the tennis player is screwed because he's all the way back and he has to run up. He runs up, gets the ball, pops it up. I slam it down. I mean, so hold on. Those are dogs barking in the background. I am fostering 2 dogs and they
Oh,
are
nice.
loud.
Wow.
So uh so with pickleball, that's the biggest thing. There's the biggest things are get to the net. That's very hard for people to understand. They don't understand the benefits of getting to the net. Essentially, when you get to the net, you have more control of the ball in the game. The other big thing for pickleball is footwork. Hold on 1 second. Brandy, stop it. The other thing with pickleball is footwork. If you don't have good footwork, same thing with tennis. You're not going to play well, period.
I would feel like I would think that as somebody who's not that experienced at pickleball, I would think that if I'm at the net, I'm vulnerable. Like my opponent can just hit it over my head and I'm screwed.
So in tennis, you absolutely are because there's way too much court you have to cover. But in pickleball, there's nothing to cover. Plus, you're playing with a partner. He's covering half the court.
Oh, that's a good point.
You're fine.
Do you always play doubles?
Most people in pickleball play doubles. There are singles, but singles is essentially tennis in a small court.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably be great at that, Chad.
maybe. Do you have you ever thought of a way to combine the two, like use pickleball for speech therapy?
Yes. So as part of communication tree, one thing that I'm going to lay out for everyone or offer is social groups. So children who are on the spectrum, who have ADHD, or have pragmatic language disorders, which is just social disorder, they have significant difficulty making friends, paying attention to conversation, paying attention to what other people are doing, listening, following conversation, staying on topic, getting jokes, making a joke. Like it's very hard for them to do those things. Mm-hmm. People on the spectrum and people who have ADHD both suffer from the same thing, attention deficit. They struggle with attending. So, pickleball is a great avenue to create a very safe, comfortable, social environment where you can exercise and move your body and then also make friends. And you learn about losing, about winning, not being a sore loser. You learn about making mistakes and not being okay to make a mistake. You learn about, paying attention. Where is the ball? Where is your partner on the court? Where should you be looking? Where are you standing? So it's a very mindful activity when you're playing pickleball, as any sport. You get in the zone and you're in your body. For someone who has ADHD and who has autism, being in your body is very difficult. ADHD folks are in their brain and their brain's going a mile a minute. Children or adults who are somewhere on the spectrum also struggle with being in their body.
What do you mean by that?
So, for example, let's take a very severe child on the spectrum with autism, nonverbal. Oftentimes, those kiddos struggle understanding where their body is in space, meaning they have trouble walking. They tend to toe walk. Why are they toe walking? Because they literally cannot understand where their body is when they stand up on the floor. So they get on their tiptoes to give them extra input so they can tell where they are in space, where they are walking. So, other individuals on the spectrum who are also severe have trouble controlling their body. They have a lot of anxiety as a result. And so you find them wanting to move their body and just move everywhere and walk. And they're doing that to help regulate themselves because they don't really know what else to do. And they don't know how to calm themselves down, but they find that movement calms themselves down. If you have someone who on the spectrum is older, and is verbal and talking, they still may have difficulty understanding where their body is in space. It just might look a little different. So they still might be toe walkers. And they also, like I said before, may feel constant anxiety. So they don't know how to calm their body. And so instead, they might wrap themselves in a blanket, go sit in a corner, avoid engaging with anyone because it's too anxiety provoking. So they become what looks like antisocial. They're not antisocial. They're just basically protecting themselves from feeling overwhelmed. So pickleball is great because it provides that movement. It gives a person a sense of where their body is in space. And it's a safe space. So, there's enough space on the court where you're not next to another person. So you don't feel overcrowded. And you can move around, you move your body, give yourself space, and also be social, practice social skills, practice staying on topic, practice, all of those things. So it's a great, I think any sport is a great way to create social interaction. I think pickleball in particular really nails it.
Toe walking. So, when I was growing up, I knew some people who were toe walkers. Are all toe walkers on the spectrum or?
No.
Okay.
No. Being on the spectrum, there's a cluster of things that have to kind of come together before you get that diagnosis. Toe walking is something that is seen in some individuals on the spectrum, not all individuals. Toe walking can also be seen in, an individual with a neurological impairment. Maybe the individual has cerebral palsy. Maybe the individual has something else neurologically going where they feel that they need to walk on their toes to understand where their legs and their feet are in space.
Okay.
Because it gives them extra input. Like if you stand on your tiptoes, it feels weird, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it doesn't, for us, it doesn't feel, it's hard, number one, because you really have to focus to stay on your tiptoes. And you really feel that pressure right on the not ball of your, ball of your foot. So it's an experience. And imagine doing that 24/7.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So what that does is over time is it creates a lot of stress in the leg, a lot of stress in the calf muscle and just the leg in general. And that long term can impact their PT, their physical movement and how their legs are aligned and their feet are aligned. I'm not a physical therapist, but that is a kind of a general understanding that I have of it.
So when I was in college, I took like a tennis class, for like PE credits or whatever. And I could do a backhand in my own way, which was not right. But I could do it. And, 50%, 40% of the time it would go over the net. And then I was trying to do it the way the instructor told me. And 0% of the time it would go over the net. In fact, it would go right into the bottom of the net every time. And I had the instructor, I was like a undergrad and the instructor was like a grad student. I had a mild crush on the instructor. I couldn't get it. I was embarrassing myself every time. So
Stop right there. Hold on 1 second. Back up. The instructor was a female, a woman.
Yeah.
You had a crush on her. She was trying to teach you how to do a backhand. You failed 100% of the time.
Every time.
I'm guessing because you wanted to perform well in front of her and you weren't, and it was making it worse, and you probably got anxiety.
I did, and I let out a litany of swear words and threw my racket into the fence.
Oh, no.
And then she left. Luckily, I didn't get kicked out of the class or something. But so as an instructor, how do you kind of deal with people who desire to do well but can't get to where they want to be?
So you meaning they get kind of really angry?
Yeah.
Because they can't get it.
What the? Yeah, you know.
Well, that happens in speech therapy all the time. I'm trying to teach a skill and they are getting frustrated because they can't get it. And they don't understand why they can't get it. So the problem isn't them. The problem is me. I'm not teaching them where they need to learn. I need to back off. So I'm teaching them a skill that's here. It's not hitting. So I need to take 8 steps back and start somewhere else and then move my way up back the ladder. So for example, your backhand is a really hard shot in tennis and in pickleball and in general. They teach you to target everyone's backhand because most people are going to miss that shot. So backhand shot, if I saw you getting really frustrated and I could see your energy rising, I would stop you before you threw your racket on the floor. And I would say, I would watch what you were doing. And I would say, are you a one-hander or two-hander backhand?
I think I was a one-hander at the time. I should have been a two-hander, though.
I mean, Federer's a one-hander. I mean, there's plenty of people that are one-handers, you know?
Yeah. I think I probably would have had more control if I used two, though.
So then that's what I would have suggested. I would have said, well, let's try two hands. This is how I do two-hand. So there's a thing where it's like, there's a way of teaching where you say, I do, we do, you do. So I show you how to do it. You watch me do that. Then you and I do it together. So I will maybe put my hands on you and we'll do the backhand together. Then you do. That's when I start tossing you balls. And then you do it. And once I'm tossing you balls, I'm pretty close to you. So I'm ensuring that you're going to hit some stuff accurately. So I'm tossing you those balls. And then we adjust. I watch what you're doing. And then we make small baby adjustments. And then once you get to 80% accuracy, then I step further away and toss you balls. And then eventually, once you're at a point where you're getting really good, then I'm on the other side of the net hitting you balls. And you're getting backhands that way. So you have to really break things down and start over. I don't want you to escalate. If you escalate and start throwing your racket and stuff, I can't teach you anymore because you're not available to learn. You're too mad.
So there's similar types of frustration in speech therapy.
Absolutely. 100%. I'm trying to work with a child on the spectrum. Let's say they're nonverbal. They really want those bubbles. They love bubbles. I mean, all kids like bubbles, little bubbles. They live for them. It's like crack. And they don't understand what I'm trying to teach them, which is touch the device, touch this picture that says bubbles, touch it, and I'm going to give you the bubbles. So I see that they're really escalating. So I take their hand, I put them on the bubbles, I do it together. Press the bubbles, then I give them the bubbles. So I am literally doing it with them. We'll do it together. The next time I do it, I'll do it together again because I don't want them to escalate. The next time, I just put my hand on their wrist and then I let them touch it. So I'm backing off of my cueing slowly and slowly and slowly until they're successful. Now, let's say they don't want to touch this device. We don't touch the device then. What are we going to do instead? We're going to do the sign language for bubbles. So I could teach them more. More is a very general sign that every speech therapist teaches kids. Why? Because it's super easy. You just put your hands together and do that, or you can do that. It's very general though. So what happens is kids learn the sign for more and then they apply it to everything and then you don't know what they want because it's not specific. So rather teaching the sign for bubbles, which I can't remember what it is right now, that's what I would do instead. I would just teach them the sign. Or if you want to make it even simpler, I would wait for them to reach for the bubbles. Sometimes kids on the spectrum don't have any gestures. They don't point, they don't reach. So I would wait for them to reach. Or I would give them a choice option. I will simplify it. Because if they get mad, they're going to remember that when they see me, they get mad. Then they're not going to want to come to speech therapy anymore. That's a problem.
So like in tennis, hitting the backhand, in my mind, I was thinking I was going to hit the ball over the net and it would be great. But what would actually happen is it would go into the bottom of the net. In speech therapy, like let's say somebody's struggling with R's, do they have like in their mind what they want their R's to sound like, and then they try it and it still doesn't work out?
Yeah, the worst part is that they'll get like, when I'm teaching R, there'll be a couple like 5 trials where they get it and it sounds really good. And then the next 5, they don't have it at all. And they're like, what happened? I just had it. Where did it go? And they get mad. And then that's when we take a break and we back off. And I start from the beginning again and we move our way up the ladder so they can get R again. So that's what it is. It's a constant recycling. It's like starting over, go up the ladder, down the ladder, and it's just very fluid. And speech therapy has to be very fluid because, so says pickleball, because everyone has emotions cycle, anxiety cycles. So you have to work with where someone's at in terms of where their emotions are at, because if their emotions are at a level 10, they're not available to learn. If they're at a 1-2, they'll learn, right? So
what do you need? What do you need if you wanted to start pickleball? If you've never played pickleball before and you're like, oh, this sounds pretty fun. It's social and I like being social or whatever. What do you need in order to feel like you're not going to hate it the first time around?
Oh, that's easy. So you need a friend. I would say bring a friend, any friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you show up to courts and you don't know how to play, it's going to be really hard to find someone there that's going to stop what they're doing and teach you how to play. Now, there's plenty of times where I've showed up to court when I was beginning and, I tried to play a game. Now, I had ping pong behind me in tennis, so I could pick it up pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't played anything at all and you just show up and you're like, you just join a session, some people are going to get annoyed. Now, what they're not going to do is say, no, you can't play. People in pickleball will always say yes. They'll do one game with you where they teach you how to play. They'll do one game. And then after that, they'll go and play with a different group. But someone in pickleball, if you have no friend at all and you are lonely and you have no one, you can show up to any court and just ask someone to teach you and someone will teach you. Where do you get pickleball paddles? Literally anywhere. Walmart, Publix, Wegmans, like any supermarket you could think of has pickleball paddles and a ball. You could just get it on Amazon. You could literally anywhere. Any sporting goods place has it. And you don't have to get fancy pickleball paddle at the beginning because you're not doing fancy stuff. Just get something cheap and basic and just start playing. And then as you get better, then you can buy more expensive paddles, but don't buy expensive paddles in the beginning.
Okay. Was there anything else we need to know?
Yes, I am going to be doing social groups for the communication tree. Those social groups are going to be with either, the kids are going to ideally be kind of within the same maturity level is the goal in terms of grouping. So that will be on the website. The website, of course, is not live yet. It will be live soon. And that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, always great to talk to you, Jen. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Chad. It was a pleasure.
So long, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Communication Tree. If this conversation helped you see communication in a new way, please share the episode and join us next time as we continue exploring connection, collaboration, and a world where every voice is heard.